This episode is brought to you by T-Mobile. Now Netflix is included. Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network. Switch today.
Good morning! Hey guys, welcome to SJU. It's Friday, which means it's Fan Friday, I think we're calling it.
It is Fan Friday.
You guys put together the show because at the end of the week, Billy is tired and can't do this anymore. It's true. It's also a very special No Parents edition of SJU.
Do we count Roth as a parent anymore?
You know what?
No.
Now that the show's been daily, no, I don't think.
She's kind of the most unruly of all of us.
She really
in a
is.
weird way.
She's the dirty aunt that you're not supposed to hang out with for too long.
Dirty aunt?
Yeah.
You have a dirty aunt?
Of course I have a dirty aunt.
What's her name?
Her name is Vicky. But I haven't seen her since I was a
Vicky
kid.
Business.
Aunt Roth is definitely the aunt that like rolled your first joint, and yeah, absolutely. Speaking of first joints at Aunt Vicky's, Billy Business is joining us.
What's up, guys?
I got to do weird segs. I'm in the Roth chair.
Yeah, you do. Oh, I didn't put the graphic in there.
Oh crap!
Oh man.
Just imagine it, but with my face. It'll be horrifying and creepy. Spencer J. Gilbert.
I want to Skype with Weird Vicky.
I do too. I don't want to do anything.
I haven't seen her since I was a kid.
Dirty Aunt Vicky.
Well, then I
This
think
is a reunion, an SJU family reunion.
Yeah, we're gonna track her down for clickbait.
yeah, I'm into that. I want to hang out with Vicky and then the weatherman that looks like you.
Yeah.
He's
Dan Merle.
He's very cool.
Josh Knight.
Josh Knight.
Josh Knight.
Keep me posted in DC area weather. I always forget why I'm getting it, and I remember it's me when I sleep.
Dan, how are you today, sir?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm very good. Hey, do you guys want to talk about John Wick 3?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Let's do it. John Wick 3 got a May 2019 release date. This was requested by Curious George on Twitter. I'm sorry I'm not reading your actual handle. At Yasuda625. I did okay with that.
Yeah, there you go.
Lionsgate will release Summit's third installment of the Keanu Reeves shooter franchise on May 17th, 2019. The film series' first summer release. No plot details have been unveiled.
I have an idea as to what the plot might be.
Tell us, Spencer.
I feel like someone will wrong John Wick in some way.
Right?
He will be like separated from his usual assortment of resources, and he'll have to wage a one-man path of possibly kung fu, maybe some headshots will be involved, and he's going to, at the end, stab a vaguely Eastern European gentleman in some part of his throat or groin.
Well, that's just crazy talk.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, yeah, this is kind of a long shot, Spencer.
I don't know. I have an inside source who leaked the plot details of John Wick 3. You know, we're friends with the directors, so they said it might be a revenge story.
Okay, I'm listening.
I'd like to see a John Wick revenge story.
Yeah, like, what if he was out for revenge? What would that look like?
Yeah, for maybe, not the dog this time, maybe like someone smudges a shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, he's just getting really mad about small
Someone
things.
cuts in line at Kmart.
Are there any parts of 1 or 2 that you would want to see like expanded on or like outdone? You know, sequels need to go a little bigger and a little
I want the
crazier.
Assassin Economy movie. We talked a little bit about it when they came in to do the. How does the Assassin Economy work? What's the trade ratio?
Is everyone an assassin? Like, is the band at the bar, are they assassins?
Right.
Is the bartender an
I
assassin?
think so. He shoots darts out of that trumpet.
Do they just have really strong NDAs that they sign when they work there? Or, you know, are they just interns who don't know what they're what
Is there like an Amazon that you could, like a Prime that you can just use your credits for? Like, do you have to go to like a certain store to use
Do they
them?
have their own Bitcoin?
Well, John Wick.
Well, they have the gold coins.
Chapter 2 kind of established, without giving away too many spoilers, that perhaps everyone on the planet is an assassin.
Yes.
Yeah. So, is this an assassin planet?
Yeah.
This whole time?
I think it might be.
We just didn't know? Is it the Matrix?
Would you guys
I don't
watch
know.
a Big Short style look into the economy of Assassin World from John Wick?
Someone's doing subprime, like gold coin manufacturing. It tanks everything.
Super.
I think they introduced, like,
gold coins is Julianne Moore in a bathtub.
it's no less random than like, to explain like the hobo spy economy, here's Lawrence Fishburne in a trench coat with a pigeon. What?
Imagine each of these gold coins are pigeons. So it's a very packed month. It's Avengers 4. Sony's releasing its adaptation of the Rosie Project. Aladdin, Minecraft comes out after that. The Rosie Project.
Oh yeah, it's gonna really take down Avengers 4.
Yeah, that was gonna be. I'm just saying, it's a big month. You got a whole new world in there. You got Minecraft. I don't even know what a Minecraft movie is supposed to be.
Oh, Minecraft movie. Okay.
It's assuming that all those movies are going to happen and be released upon the date.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
I'm assuming Avengers 4 is pretty snug in there.
Oh well, yeah. Obviously, Avengers 4 is definitely going to come.
But I'm just
out.
saying, why would you move something that's done so successfully, like in October or February, when there's not as much competition, to somewhere where I feel like moving stuff to May is like almost like moving a TV show to Friday night at this point. Like, you're just gonna kill it.
Yeah.
There's no way that John Wick is gonna be able to do what it did the first 2 times in May. I'm calling it now.
Maybe, yeah. It's. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and look at the exact schedule. If it's 2 weeks after Avengers, and if there's something else, there's not a big thing opening against it. I could see maybe them saying like, "Well, here's a weekend in May that." But I agree. Like that was part of the downfall of so many movies this summer was like they weren't spaced out. It's just like blockbuster, 2 blockbusters, blockbuster, maybe a week off, then another one. And it's like people don't go every week. So.
Yeah, I want to see John Wick in like February or November.
Yeah, it's a great series, but it's not a big series in the same way that like I think the new Planet of the Apes trilogy suffered when they threw it out this summer. We're like, it's a big action ape thing, and it's like, that's not really what that franchise is or where it fits.
2 did substantially better though than 1 did. I mean, it more than doubled the gross of the first.
Was
one.
that released in the summer?
The first one was released in the fall. The second one was released in the spring, winter-ish. So maybe they're saying like, hey, this is a franchise on the rise. This is going to be quote unquote the last. I'm sure they'll advertise it as the last John Wick movie. Maybe they think, hey, this is the time to make the big play. It's a gamble. I agree with Billy. It's a risk because this might pay off and it makes $200 million in the U.S. and $400 million, or it could get completely lost in the shuffle. And yeah, it's a risk.
Well, we don't know with this one if both David Leitch and Chad Stahelski will be back. Stahelski did the sequel. We do know that the guy who wrote both of them, Derek Kolstad, will be back for the third one.
Well, see what happens.
Yeah. I'd love to see the script for John Wick. He shoots 12 this guy, then he shoots the other guy, he does like this sweet flip move, and then it's like he shoots that guy too.
It's either 15 pages of he shoots them, or it's like a 500-page script very specifically laying out everyone that gets shot.
Yeah.
I only brought up the directors because our next story is about directors, and I needed a segue to get into it.
Nicely done.
It's going to get a director's cut. In an interview with Yahoo Movies, Andy this name always sneaks up on me. Muschietti.
Baba Muschietti.
Muschetti.
It's the Muschetti and the Muschietti.
Machete. It was actually directed by Danny Trejo's character. Machete. Andy Machete. And his producer / sister, Barbara
I had no idea it was
Machete.
his sister.
That's kind of fun.
Was that like common knowledge?
They're like the Broccolis.
I had no idea.
James Bond world.
I like it.
Her name is also Barbara.
Okay.
This has been Fun Facts About Barbara.
That needs a graphic. Fun facts about Barbaras.
Brought to you by Dan.
So they broke the news about its director's cut, noting that Warner Brothers had asked them to produce the new version. There's a great scene. It's a bit of a payoff of the Stanley plot, where he delivers a speech that blames all the adults of Derry for all the problems, and there's a great resolution. The cut's going to be about 15 minutes longer. Let's talk bigger picture. Let's talk director's cuts. Like, should this just have been the cut that was in the theater, if this is the cut that they wanted?
You have to see the video. It's on Yahoo Movies that they did of this with these two, where they actually say it, because it's not like, and guys, there's going to be a director's cut. It's such like she literally says like, yeah, Warner Brothers told us this morning we have to do it. Like, like it's just such like a mandated thing that's like, she just says like, yeah, I just got an email this morning that I guess I have to do this, so like that's what's going to be in there.
Wow.
Like, it's very like nonchalant the way that they like make this announcement or whatever. That being said, Stanley was the one character in that movie that was like, I feel like I know a little bit psychologically about all these kids, except Stanley is the one where it's like, okay, you're afraid of a painting. Everything else like kind of fits to a deeper psychological fear except him. So if it fleshes him out,
That kind of makes sense. If you know the larger story, why they might
Which I
make
don't,
that choice.
so I don't,
There could be a reason for that. The movie's 2 hours and 15 minutes already, and I felt like it was good at its running time. It felt good, and I don't know. Lord of the Rings was great, but I feel like that was the exception. I think a lot of times, especially if they're like, I don't know, we don't want to do this. This was just
they called us this morning and said we had to do
we're
it.
gonna do it. And it's like, I don't know. Sometimes people do director's cuts, and they're not. It's like, no, you made the right choice. you made the good director's cut the first time when you said we don't need this scene in the movie.
Yeah, and like give it the benefit of hindsight. Like wait 10 years and then look back and be like, oh, you know, actually it could have flowed better with this. Like the movie just came out. You don't have that perspective that you need to really judge it.
Yeah. Are there any director's cuts that you guys think ruined movies?
We differ because I've heard you say a couple times that you think that Thing You Do's director cut is like great for fans, and I think that director's cut is terrible. Like,
I think that Thing You Do's fan is fun. Director's cut is fun. If you're a fan of the movie, it has a lot of extra scenes. They don't necessarily add to the film, but it's fun character moments.
I disagree. I like it. Just like that. That's one of my favorite movies. And when I watched that director's cut, I was like, "This needs to end. I'm tired of it. I don't like what they did with Tom Hanks' character. It just was. I thought it was a mess." But that's the only one that, because we've had this discussion offline before, and I feel like that's the only one that you and I don't agree on.
Yeah. No, there's very few things that I would point to and say the director's cut is the definitively superior version. I would say Lord of the Rings, the director's cuts are as good as, but you can watch the theatricals and they're just as good. Blade Runner, I think, is one that's better.
Yep.
Yeah, the director's cut is better, but most director's cuts are curiosities or vastly inferior.
I like Terminator 2's.
Aliens is good. Terminator 2 is good. Aliens is good, but I don't think you lose anything. I can't say that it's like, oh, but it's way better than the theatrical. There's very few of the director's cuts like, oh, that's the definitive version of the movie.
I hear Daredevil's better. 2003's
That's
Daredevil.
what.
It's a low
I remember
bar,
so
but
many friends in college being like, "No, man, you got to see the director's
I just don't want to rewatch it.
Yeah. Spencer, let me ask you this: BVS theatrical or BVS director's cut?
Well, yeah, no, the theatrical, because there's just less of it overall, and the director's cut explains more of what I hate about it. But it is explained. They do take the time to explain why you're so miserable sitting through this movie, so that's appreciated for some.
That's fair. Thank you at TimButt2 for asking us to talk director's cuts this morning.
Yeah, still a great name.
Hey, you guys want to play a game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound as cool when you're not Lon
Jigsaw.
doing it.
Yeah.
You guys want to play a game? Stranger Things 2, for season 2, they released a bunch of homage posters. I'm going to show them to you. You guys guess what they are.
I expect you guys to get all of these.
This is like watching Stranger Things itself.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, let's do it.
Oh. Is that Wait. Is that E.T.?
Yeah, I'm gonna go E.T.
Okay, I'll say E.T.
I know what it is because I had to pull these this morning.
Okay.
Oh, Billy knows.
Billy knows.
That's
Stand By Me.
Okay.
The nighttime kind of threw me off there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There we go.
All right.
Okay.
There we go.
Works.
Way to
Oh for
Photoshop
one.
those folds in too.
I know, right?
All right. What's the next
what's
one,
next?
JTE?
Oh, that is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
the first theatrical poster for Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm gonna go with that too.
100%.
Let's see what it is.
Yay! One of
We
the
did
great
it.
horror posters of all time. That's a
very good.
fantastic
Good.
poster.
So we're
Did
all
they
good.
not change the name Nancy?
Nancy?
Shouldn't they have done 11?
Maybe.
Oh no, that
No,
is Nancy. You're right.
Nancy
That's, I thought that was
is,
11.
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, Nancy is her.
I was
Got
like,
it.
what if they just spoiled Stranger Things season 2? Where she's like, my real name's Nancy.
I thought she just grew hair.
No, your name's 11. Next.
Ooh. Oh, I've seen this poster.
Yeah.
Is that...
It's the Running
That's
Man.
the Running Man, yeah.
Yeah. Is it the Running Man?
Oh!
Yay! We did it. What's next, JTE?
Did Netflix make these?
Yeah, I think Netflix
Yeah, I
made
think they
them.
did. Yeah.
It's Alien.
Or we
That's-
made
that's
Adam do them.
definitely
Poor
Alien,
Adam. Yeah.
These look like fan
It
art.
is.
Yeah, I'm
They do
sorry.
a
These
little
look
bit.
like fan art.
You know a little bit.
I love Stranger Things, but these are like... We get it.
We get it.
We get it. It's the fucking 80s.
This one I didn't know.
This one I know.
This is Carrie.
Oh, okay.
No, that's Firestarter with Drew Barrymore,
Oh.
I think.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that one.
She's a
Okay.
twisted fire starter. Is it too early for Prodigy?
Don't think that I don't test ya. Suck you.
What's next, JT? That's
Evil Dead.
Evil
That's
Dead.
Evil Dead, yep.
I like that one.
That one's fun.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that one.
That's fun.
Is there any more,
I think
JTE?
there's one more.
Or we're just gonna go full Tremors.
Tremors.
These are all over the place. This is 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
Just
No,
like
no.
Stranger
Focus.
Things. We'll just be nostalgic for anything before you're
Wait,
Wait,
what?
no.
Son of a...
Well, I guess some could say that Tremors was a reference to Jaws.
All right.
However, I think that is much closer to the Tremors. I
looks like
disagree with the judgment there. I think
yeah.
that's Can we
Yeah.
hang on?
I think the larger issue here is Tremors a better film than Jaws?
Wait, what year did Tremors come out?
Like 1991.
So then wouldn't it be DQ'd from...
Well, no.
Clearly, they don't care. They're
79.
throwing 70s, mid 80s.
Like, what do you guys remember? Let's just put that in this. They should have done a Mighty Ducks one if they're just going to go for all out.
I agree,
nostalgia.
actually.
I
Completely.
would watch that if there was nothing metaphysical or fantastic about Stranger Things season 3, and they just started a hockey team.
An actual, like, Coach Bombay has to come teach them.
Yeah, and then like 11 joins is like a girl, but she's so good at hockey.
And then a dog puts its paws over its eyes. It's gonna be a great movie.
My phone literally won't load a picture, which is great considering that we are.
Guys,
Here we go.
the internet at
This
our
is
internet
Tremors.
company isn't great.
This is Tremors.
Eh.
All right.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
cut to that other one. Cut to the Stranger Things one.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, that's Tremors, son.
It looks more. I get that Tremors is doing the Jaws thing, but I'm saying that looks more like Tremors than Jaws.
Plus, whoever's up there above it is wearing what Kevin Bacon wore in Tremors.
yes, and I think that's Fred Ward in the background. So I say that's more Tremors than Jaws.
Yeah. I feel
That's
good about
just
that.
me.
You
I
guys
mean,
feel good?
I 100% defer to you. Like,
Tremors is closer to when Stranger Things happens than Jaws is. Stranger
Yeah,
Things happens and this is having in 84, and I can't do math, but I assume that 1990 is closer to 1984 than 1975.
Guys, speaking of not doing math, let's do some fan questions.
Hold on.
Oh, wait.
How bad is Stranger Things going to get in like season 5 when it's the late 90s?
Oh, they're all drinking, they're all pounding Surge.
Just cranking Papa Roach.
Oh, it's gonna be so gross. That little kid with no teeth's gonna have some big Jinko pants on.
Yeah.
Do you like demigorgons?
Instead of D&D, they're all LARPing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna get self-referential. They're gonna be at the premiere of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Season 4.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Pounding their junk on 4chan. It's going to get weird.
Oh, it's funny.
It's coming.
excited.
It's coming.
It is. Hey, you guys want to know? I got no segue. Fan questions.
Fan Friday.
This is from @beinggraphic. Where do you guys see yourselves in 5 years? I can't tell if this is a nice question or a mean one.
Yeah.
Dan, where do you see yourself in 5 years, buddy?
I honestly don't know. I'm literally coming up on the 5-year anniversary of starting here,
Right?
like next week. So I could not have foreseen any. I was a part-time freelance editor 5 years ago, and now I am a weird online movie critic. So I would not have seen that jump. So I've learned not to even attempt to figure out where I'm going to be in 5. Hopefully, still loving movies and getting to talk about them.
Yeah.
that's what I do know.
For me, I honestly think the apocalypse will hit before the 5-year mark. So I will probably be shimmying through caves to find some kind of weird energy source on the behalf of a weird warlord kind of guy somewhere.
I think you'll be a karate instructor. Like,
Yeah,
at least
but in the
part-time.
post-apocalypse?
No, just like you'll be like, I don't know, doing like data entry by day, karate instructor by night.
You know what?
Sucks. Why does he have to do data entry?
I don't know.
Karate instructor's a noble
He's not
profession.
good enough to be a full-time karate instructor.
Or a full-time data entry employee? Jesus, Billy.
I think you will ironically appreciate the juxtaposition of you're like, I want to do something badass at night, so I'm gonna have to do something mundane by day. No offense if anyone out there
just to
watching
balance it out. No, I get that. No, I think for when this career comes to an immediate, violent, and abrupt end for me, probably in 4 months. Yeah, I think we'll go data entry karate. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm real good with that.
Yeah, I agree with you that there's no way we as a species make it 5 more years. So, but I still think I'll be doing what I'm doing, which is just like, holding up like a really smug mirror to society. So the people will be like drying strips of venison on the 405. I'll be like, yeah, way to do that. And then I'll die.
Yeah, and then someone will stab you with a piece of glass.
Someone will stab me in a piece of glass and pull out my fillings. And that's where I'll be.
Billy, how are you going to die in the coming apocalypse?
Well, let's see. In 5 years, we'll probably at least have 1 kid, so I'll probably just end up killing myself at that point.
Okay. Because of your child? Jesus, sorry, kid.
No, my goal in 5 years, I don't know what I want to do in 5 years. Probably, I don't know. My fiance is like way smarter and way more successful, so I'm going to try and get on that house
Coast
husband.
on that.
Yep. Trying to be that stay-at-home dad.
You're
Trying
gonna be
get
a
on
good
that
stay-at-home
train,
dad, Billy
right?
Business.
Yeah.
Go in your room and play. I'm busy.
I'm real busy. Next question. This is from @Wilcox. What needs to be done to get Danny Trejo and Luis Guzman more big-time roles?
I mean,
Better agent?
I feel like Danny Trejo, you know, he's good. He's got his own franchise. He's doing stuff like
He's making donuts.
He's doing a
he's
lot,
got a
yeah.
huge chain of all these restaurants throughout Los Angeles. Luis Guzman, he's a good character actor, but it's like, what are we waiting for?
I want him to have his own like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay.
Where just weird stuff happens and he reacts to
I
it.
can see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Danny Trejo, I feel like, yeah, he's gotten. I mean, he's got great roles. I think someone could write him a movie that could like seriously be an awards where, you know, if you write him a really great part. But I agree, like Luis Guzman, you gotta like construct something around the goose, man.
Yeah. The goose, man. The goose, man.
Goose, man.
I think that's the title of the show.
I like it when he just pops up in a movie and you're just not expecting. What was it? The Keanu, right? He was in that.
Yeah, he popped
I was
up in
like, oh,
Keanu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you are. I always liked like the every couple years check-in where he just pops up in a
Yeah.
movie. I'm like, oh, you're doing
Like
okay,
a surprise goose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Hal
that.
visited the set of Keanu and we got the footage back and he interviewed Luis Guzman. And to this day, I cannot legitimately tell if he is the most deadpan comedic personality I've ever seen or he legitimately wanted to murder Hal Rundgren. It was one of those two because Hal touched him and he wasn't happy about it. And I like to think that he's a really deadpan comedic guy, but 10% of me thinks he legitimately wanted to murder Hal.
Wow. Hal's gonna get stabbed.
Yeah.
What's Luis Guzman's food franchise gonna look like? I mean, Trejo's got donuts and tacos.
Yeah.
What's Guzman gonna do?
Goose.
Yeah,
Like
some type of
Is it like couscous?
Yeah, Luis's goose.
goose.
Fine dining.
So yeah, he'll open a chain of Middle Eastern, maybe Lebanese restaurants called Luis Goose.
If we don't get fan art mock-ups of that restaurant side, you guys have failed us as fans. Moving on, @JPEG1098 and C&J Griffin asked, who will be the big winners this year at the Emmys? Not us.
However,
But who else wins?
I do think, I was talking about this last night, I think Stranger Things might actually be the trendy choice and like win Best Dramatic Series, only because they did the Nerd Emmys that we were at last weekend, and like Stranger Things won a lot. Like Stranger Things won Best Main Title Design, which, really? It's literally 2 words in red on a black screen.
8 seconds.
For 8 seconds, and it won Best Title Design. So that to
iconic.
me says there's a lot of people that are like, just see Stranger Things and they're like, the kids like it. Yes. So I think Stranger Things might actually win a bunch and surprise people by winning more than a lot of people are anticipating.
I can't even think of any other like main. I guess Game of Thrones.
The Crown. No.
Oh, well, because it
The
wasn't eligible,
Crown,
right?
and it's up against The Crown and Westworld and This Is
No,
Us.
Westworld
Ooh,
was
Westworld had amazing credits
Yeah.
where they're dipping the things in milk and stuff.
Not as good as red words on a screen, Spenny.
Yeah. But I did forget the Westworld opening credits, and Stranger Things is like, it's iconic. Like, you
to
see
me, it's the
font
music.
like that, and
It's
you're
the
like,
music more than the
They're all
credits.
Is that
a part of the
factored
same
in?
little...
It's not even their font. They took it from Stephen King books. It's. I mean, listen. I love the opening credits to Stranger Things, but like, I didn't point at that and go like, that is the best credit sequence I've seen all year. It's maybe you're going for overall effect. I don't know, but like design,
yeah.
it's minimalist.
So
Well,
do you
I
think...
always like to remember that the Emmy voters are. I like to imagine the typical Emmy voter as a 70-something-year-old white guy who worked on Mork and Mindy for a couple seasons like that. So probably This Is Us is going to win everything at the Emmys because they only get 4 channels and their stepson hasn't been by to reprogram their remote so they can check out Hulu or whatever. So I think a network TV, like an Modern Family, This Is Us sweep.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, Veep. It's a
Oh,
Veep
because they
sweep.
like Julie Louis-Dreyfus from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a Veep sweep.
Yeah.
On
Veep
comedy
sweep.
on the comedy side. Veep
Hashtag
It does
Sweet.
deserve it. It still is like one of the best comedies on TV.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but I hear it's great.
With your theory on Stranger Things sweeping, do you think Barb wins?
Oh, yeah, for best
I don't know
guest,
if Barb will
ridiculous.
win.
That is ridiculous.
I don't know if Barb
That is
will
so
win.
dumb.
Yeah.
I do think that I'm rooting for Feud Betty and Joan on FX.
Oh, that was
a great
Yeah.
show. I enjoyed that very much, but it's once again up against Fargo, which is also a great show.
Also great.
Yes.
And many other things. So I don't know. I'm torn. Like, I think if Stranger Things doesn't sweep early, then I agree with Spencer. This Is Us is going to be the sentimental favorite and just like steamroll everything. But,
Yeah. And then hopefully they use our Brian McKnight song for the next season because it was really good.
And Stranger
I could
Things.
also see Handmaid's Tale winning a lot just because it's the thing that people like know is good and important even if they didn't watch it. So they'll just be like,
Yeah.
I hear that's great.
Yeah.
Handmaid's Tale.
And yeah, you
Pat on
get
the
this.
back.
Hashtag
You get
important.
this.
Yeah.
Hashtag important. Hashtag The Daily Show. At Being Graphic asked, after the superhero film phase is over, what genre of film do you guys think / hope will take over?
Mid-budget.
I think horror. Yeah, horror. I think
Horror's low budget. I mean, you're right. It can be both, but I just mean like one-off $30 million movies. That doesn't happen. I know that's not a genre per se, but they don't really make that anymore. Whereas in like when the studio system was kind of in its infancy in the 70s, that's when we got the best movies of all time because it was like they gave the people the resources they need to make these personal movies, and they were idiosyncratic and they were incredible. And I'd like to repeat that phase.
I want to see American comedies sort of step back up. Every Frame of Painting did such a great feature on like how American comedies just sort of turned into several people on camera improvising, and the camera's very static,
Flat
and
lighting, very static. They look like garbage. They look like garbage, but they look like they light it flat so they can cover it from 8 different angles and just roll the camera and string together. It worked once for Judd Apatow on 40-Year-Old Virgin, and everyone decided we're going to do this for the next 15 years, and that's all we're going to do. It's like,
so yeah,
because it's cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, I think there's been a huge talent drain for comedy into television.
That's really
people
true, too.
just if you want to write comedy, you don't want to make movies. You want to be on a TV show.
That and the action comedy needs a good resurgence. We need some new Lethal Weapon-y, Last Boy Scout-y things.
yeah, Hitman's Bodyguard kind of tried to do that. Stuff is fine. Okay.
I want them to be more than fine. Yeah. Dan, what do you think? What genre?
I don't know. I think first of all, like, yes, there are some like superhero, like Thor Ragnarok is like a superhero movie. Like that is yes, but things like Winter Soldier, like that's kind of, I mean, Captain America's in it, but it's kind of a cross hybrid, and I think Ant-Man's kind of a cross hybrid. So, but they will die out eventually. I don't know. I just feel like it's drama and comedy are about certain things, but it's still mainly drama, comedy, action. Like the genres are pretty much the same. It's just like, what's the framing device? 20, 30 years ago, it was Schwarzenegger and Stallone, and now it's Captain America and Thor, but it's still buddy comedy. It's still, so I feel like the genres stay the same. It's more just like, what are they about? So, I don't know.
Business?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think in the short term, like I said, I think you're going to see so many more like 30 million or less horror movies. I think we're just going to get flooded with them because it seems like everything's just reactionary. Like I still say to this day, like I feel like if you go back to like Dark Knight was like the best and the worst thing to ever happen because it just like everyone's like we have to reboot everything we have and make it dark, and then they tried everything that they could, and for years that's all we got, and then for years we got vampire stuff, and then we got it's just like it's all cyclical to whatever's happening. So at least for the next couple of years we're getting a shit ton of horror, probably every Stephen King
we're gonna get so many Stephen King, Cujo, and
we know The Stand's coming,
Christine, and the Prom Night.
They're all gonna be split into 2 films.
Maximum Overdrive.
2. God.
I'd watch a Maximum Overdrive.
Would you
reboot.
watch
I would watch
a
it.
new version of Mangler since you watched that old one?
Yes.
Pet Sematary.
Absolutely watch a new Mangler.
Well, they tried to do the Kingiverse with Dark Tower, so they'll try again.
Yeah, they'll try something a little different.
At Orthodox Juice asks you guys, have you ever not wanted to honest trailer a movie because it was too beloved by you? You just didn't want to pick it apart.
No, I don't think we're picking stuff apart. Really? It's like we're just being honest about it. And if it's good, we say the good parts. If it's bad, we say the bad parts. I mean, we've done movies that I love all the time.
Yeah, my favorite movie is Jaws, and we did Jaws. I think it's more of an issue of sometimes we think about doing an honest trailer and we just don't see an avenue, like The Godfather. You should do an honest trailer of The Godfather. It's like, what's the end there? Like, what's the what's there for us to say?
The third one sure was bad.
The third one, yeah, you could do the
talk
third
about
one.
the third one, but it's like we can talk about how great The Godfather is. Everyone knows that, but it's like, you know, Jaws. Even like I love that movie. You know, there's fun little. You can have fun with this. You can have fun with what that guy. Like there's places to go and kind of have fun. And it's like The Godfather. You look at it and it's like what would the honest trailer of The Godfather be? It's great.
The end.
Yeah,
that'd be good. That'd be an easy week.
That'd be an easy week. It'd be great. But yeah, I think a lot of times I want to see an honest trailer of, you know, Citizen Kane. Like you really don't, because the honest trailer.
I'd be
of Citizen
curious.
Kane
There might be some stuff in Citizen Kane.
Yeah, that's true. Citizen Kane might actually be a little fun. But yeah, no, it's not so much like, oh, we want to pick it apart, because we try not to. That's not our thing. Other people do that. We don't. By nature, we do it sometimes. But yeah, it's not so much like I don't want to pick this movie apart. It's just like I don't know what to say. What do we say? Andy keeps wanting to do Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, which seems impossible.
And I just don't know what's the inroad? Where's the point of contact on that movie?
And for me, sort of, you know, on the same boat as Shawshank Redemption, like I really want to do Blade Trinity, and it's like, what? I don't know what you say about it. You know, sort of on this
flawless.
Yeah, very flawless film.
Masterpiece.
Spencer, are there any that you're like? What's the hardest one you've ever written because you like the movie, or
the ones that are hard are not the ones that I love or hate. The ones that are hard are the ones that are just like kind of there. Like be, like for example with Kong Skull Island, if we didn't have the director there, like there's two things to say about the movie. So it's I don't want to say mediocre, but it's almost worse when they're like above average movies. That's the worst kind of honest trailer to do. So stop requesting those. It's like, they're okay.
Next.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
At Delisha Renee. Hey, Delisha. She says, I just got a new job. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So I'd like to know, what were your first jobs? Billy?
CompUSA, computer salesman.
Nice.
Yep. I was one of those guys that was... I would cut you a deal on the computer so you'd buy the extended warranty. That's how I made my money.
Spencer?
First job, I think, was a mailroom of a giant office. Just filing mail.
Didn't even do retail?
Little mail
Just
dungeon.
Skipped right to the corporate ladder?
Right to the literal bottom rung. Never got above the first zero rung. I propped up the ladder and held it there.
I made pizzas at Papa John's for a couple years, and then went right to Hot Topic.
Nice.
Straight to Hot Topic. Dan?
I folded clothes and sold cargo pants at the Gap.
Yes.
In the late 90s.
Yeah, that's when the Gap was hot.
Right after the swing revival. Oh, boy.
The great khaki rush.
Oh, what a time to be alive. Oh, so many pockets. So many pockets.
Nothing
Nothing
everywhere.
like a nice mock turtleneck and some cherry popping daddies to just
jump, jive, and wail all the way to the Gap.
There are certain Christmas songs that trigger me to this day, because I worked and they changed the music for 2 months, and they had an hour and a half worth of music, and when you work a 4-hour shift 4 times a week, you hear those songs.
You have one that's your kryptonite, I actually know.
There is a holiday song that's my kryptonite that I will not reveal on the air. But yeah, no, worked at the Gap. Worked at the Gap during the holiday rush. They offered to keep me on, which was a big thing, and I said, no, thank you.
No, thanks. Oh, God, Hot Topic was right when Drive Thru Records and pop punk was like at its zenith. So like my 6-hour shifts were nothing but like, you left me in a very shame, and just variations on that for like 6 hours a day. And it broke me.
Your hair is everywhere.
How did you
guys awake?
How did you do that? How?
Just got some things out. At RatK11090 says, what do you think of Tim Miller directing Terminator 6? Is the bigger question, how do you feel about a Terminator 6?
Yeah, I mean, this goes from me being aggressively against to like, I guess wait and see, but still like, just they've squandered all love and affection for that franchise, so they got to get me back on board. Like,
I like Tim Miller a lot. There's some
Deadpool is cool, but and I'm not saying this to Tim Miller, but to Terminator, like, what have you done for me lately? It's all you've done is just
been 25 years since like universally like solid Terminator movie came out. 25 years. There was like 7 years between the first one and the second one, and now 25 between the last actually really good one. stop.
It's Ryan's course.
I think, I think I'd rather see Tim work on this action comedy revival that I really want. Like, I'd rather him do the next original, whatever that is.
I feel like you have an action comedy script
ready
that
to
you're trying to sell.
Tim,
Gotta bring it back.
hey, so next time you're in the office, I've just got a couple pages that I'd like for you to let you know. It's no pressure, but I really think that it'd be a really good vehicle for both you and for me. And
Maybe give it to Ryan.
Yeah,
slip it to Ryan.
or you know who's not doing much right now? Louise Guzman.
The Goose.
The Goose.
It's called Gauze and the Goose. Ryan Gosling, Luis Guzman. They're from opposite sides of the tracks.
You could totally sneak in some product placement for Louise Goose Goose, the Goose Goose restaurant owned by Louise Guzman. It'll be great. Adam R. asks, are you guys pumped for the new season of Curb Your Enthusiasm? Spencer, I want to go to you on this.
Sure, yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I love it. I'm a big Seinfeld fan. Yeah. And, Curb's great, and I know that he wouldn't come back and do it unless he had something funny in mind because it's been 6 years.
Yeah.
So I'm psyched.
I just hope there's something in the plot involving scissors, because him saying a scissor is still like the funniest thing in the world to me. Just Larry David going, everyone get taping the scissor, and it kills me. Yeah, all good on Curb?
Yes.
All good?
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap on this. That Disc Couple 15 asks, talk about a movie that doesn't get the love it deserves. Their example is Blank Check.
Well,
No, that's literally
they want us to only talk about Blank Check.
Oh, wait.
I want to talk about Blank Check.
You only want to talk about Blank Check. I'm sorry, I misread that. Okay, let's talk about Blank Check, Billy.
I've never ever seen $1 million stretch as far as it does over the
Blank
course
Check.
of
This is
the
before the
runtime.
subprime mortgage crisis, so you could
This
like
was also in the early
get a
90s.
loan
He
against that
buys a
check.
castle,
Yeah.
then he buys like a amusement park in his back ride. He's paying for his like chauffeur slash butler
Is the
slash
secret
babysitter.
is the secret twist that he's renting all of it, so it's like one of these rappers who blows up real quick and they're like, look at all my wealth, and it's all rented and taken away? Is that the secret dark twist?
I don't. This movie's very odd. He gets a crush on like a 30-year-old woman, and she like kisses him at the end. It's very bizarre.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If for people that don't know Blank Check, it stars Brian Bonsall, who you might know from Family Ties, or as Worf's son Alexander on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I was like, how did he know that?
Who's a criminal who's in a hurry, hits his bike with his car, and it could, because he's trying to evade the authorities, literally scribbles a check and says, here, just write in the amount for a new bike, and runs off, and the kid writes $1 million.
Because he does not have much imagination.
Yes, and because this criminal has just committed some kind of a fraud, he now has $1 million, but the criminal is trying to get his money back. I don't want to take for granted that people did not
That's
know.
fair.
That people know what this movie is about.
Sure.
And he, as mentioned, he buys a castle. He buys many things.
And then a lady kisses him.
And then a lady kisses
Yeah, he
him.
goes on a date with like a 30-year-old lady, and he's like 10. It's weird.
but he's rich.
The mid-90s, there's so many movies. I love this weird subgenre of like kids that are doing things that kids shouldn't do. Like Three Ninjas was about these kids that are trained to like fight gangsters.
Home Alone.
Blank Check, yeah. Home Alone, Agent Cody Banks.
There were like 8 movies about kids in the White House.
Yeah.
Some of them had Sinbad. Some of them didn't have Sinbad.
Dude, that Sinbad one got dark at the end.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
like
He gets
80
shot,
minutes.
doesn't
Yeah,
he?
it's like it's like 80 minutes of like Sinbad, and then it turns full on like Air Force One.
Wait, the
shootout in the mall.
Wait,
It's
the
so-
kid gets shot or
Yeah,
Sinbad
first
gets
kid.
shot?
Sinbad gets shot.
Sinbad gets shot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sinbad down.
Yeah. No! It's the baseball
Protect
player.
Sinbad.
It's the baseball player from Little Big League. He's the,
Another movie where a kid is doing something.
Yeah, or Rookie of the Year is another one.
managing a baseball team.
Yeah, I want to see follow-ups to all of these films where we see how these kids are now broken as adults.
It could be a whole dark DC universe.
Yeah, this is a cine universe I want to see.
Man of the House 2 about Zachary Ty
Yes.
Bryan having crazy Chevy Chase as his adopted father.
Yes.
So many. I watched a lot of Disney. This is like when I was a kid. This is why I know so much about these.
Jungle
like,
to
this is
Jungle.
Jungle
Oh,
to Jungle.
do not try to worry about defending your clamshell video.
So many
knowledge.
clamshell video cases.
Yeah, no, that's good to have. Yeah, it's the therapy verse. Is that what we're?
Yeah, that needs therapy first.
Yeah, I'm into that. Well, guys, I
Foggy
feel good
Nelson
about
was
this
playing
show.
hockey. It was a great time.
He was, yeah, Foggy Nelson was a badass.
Oh God, he was.
That was Foggy Nelson.
That's right. Foggy Nelson was a mighty duck.
He was
Yes.
a badass.
Guys, that's our show. Enjoy your weekends, Billy. Thanks for being here. Spencer, thanks for being here. I don't know if lower thirds are going to pop up for you guys or not.
That's fine.
Well, it's all coming to my ears are bleeding. Dan, I'm Joe Starr.
See you,
Flickbait. We'll see you in a couple hours. Bye, guys.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by T-Mobile. Want to hear how America's best unlimited network is upping their game? Now get Netflix included with your family plan. There's never been a better time to switch.